I'm Jennifer, the Game Pioneer from Game Brain Podcast. I hope you folks are doing well. Today, I'm going to talk about Babylonia. And I'm also going to kind of include some history as well. There was someone who was asking about how did we actually get German rules in the 80s. So it was very difficult because I do not and did not speak German. However, I had three major sources. One was buying the games from Just Games in London. This meant, by the way, that I got up at like 5 in the morning because at 5 in the morning, the phone charges were only $1 a minute instead of the usual $2 to $3. So I would get very early and I would call Just Games and ask them what new German games they had gotten. And they always provided a translation. So that was really good. I spent a lot of money there. Also, Mike Siggins, who is a British board game player from long ago, would also host translations on his website, and so would Ken Tidwell, who is a gentleman that I believe is still living in Northern California. And so, anytime the latest Reiner Knizia came out, we were all, wow, we got to get this, but we got to get the translations. This was especially true for modern art and Tigris and Euphrates and Through the Desert, some of his early 90s games. And, it was such a treasure at that time. I mean, right now, there's so many games come out all the time. But in the late 80s and the early 90s, I mean, there were games coming out, but not all of them were translated. And it was just a real challenge to try to get to these wonderful games. And Dr. Knizia, just made some games that are classic today. Tigris and Euphrates, Through the Desert, Samurai, Modern Art. We loved Modern Art. Lost Cities is probably considered by many to still be the best two-player game ever. So, Dr. Knizia was a large factor in my early Euro career. So today I'm going to be talking about one of his games that I'm really enjoying. Babylonia is a game that's set in Babylonia, of course, during the time of Nebuchadnezzar II. And you play as clans, clan leaders in Babylonia. And you're basically creating trade routes. So the board is laid out with ziggurats, which are large, and cities, which are smaller, and fields for the farmers, which are smaller. So on your turn, at the start of your turn, you're going to have 5 clanspeople. The clanspeople, as I mentioned, were farmers and nobles. And then on the board, there are cities that are on the board that you want to get your clans and nobles to. So, you place the clan tokens and try to surround the cities and then try to get the points. The thing is, which makes this game really cool and kind of a mix between Through the Desert and Samurai, you get points for any connecting clans to the original surrounded city. So let's say there's a city and, one player has two nobles next to the city and another player has 2 nobles, and then I've got the rest, which, if I remember, it's Texas, so that would be 2 as well. Well, okay, that's nice. Everybody shares the points, right? No. If I have some nice, lengthy, long chain, I might get 10 points, and they may only get the few points that they get close to the cities. So it creates this wonderful dynamic where you're trying to set up your chains, but you're also trying to stop people from setting up their chains. And unlike some games, where you have to kind of like designate someone to stop the leader, this isn't really like that. Or at least that has not been our experience. I mean, everybody is interested in stopping everybody else, and everybody is interested in trying to make long chains. We have thoroughly enjoyed this. It feels so classic, so back to how Dr. Knizia started, and definitely one of my top 5 games that I've played this year. It's still freely, available. You should be able to find it at many different online and probably local retailers, and I would give it a really huge recommendation. Thank you very much. I hope to begin doing more videos more frequently. It's been really busy, so I have had to take a hiatus. However, you'll be hearing more of my thoughts on some of the more recent games very soon. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.